This story is about an actress named Thelma Todd. Years ago, when I first started findadeath.com, a friend of mine by the name of Dominic Druce volunteered to write Thelma Todd's story for the website. And it worked out great because I didn't know enough to write about it, to speak with any sort of authority about it. And the same goes for today. I was able to get inside Thelma Todd's roadside cafe not that long ago. And I think it's fairly rare to get in there. The people at the advertising agency were terrific about it and invited me in, and I was able to use a video camera all over the place. So that was terrific. And what I'll do now is read the story from findadeath.com by Dominic Druce. I haven't been in touch with Dominic in many years, and I hope to hear from him soon. So anyway, here's Thelma Todd's story. And thank you, Dominic.
Pardon me, but could you spare me a moment of your time?
Why, certainly, officer.
What's the name?
Thelma Todd.
What's the address?
1222 Kosciuszko.
Are you trying to hog the whole street? Why, this little old car is such an insignificant... It's a cheesy little thing, that's what it is. Why,
Thelma Todd was known by the nickname the Ice Cream Blonde, or as Hot Toddy to her friends. She's now largely remembered as the victim of one of Hollywood's most questionable and mysterious deaths. Born in 1906 in Lawrence, Massachusetts, her wild behavior shook up the locals. She grew up scandalizing the community by dressing provocatively and going through more than her fair share of the local hunks. After a stint in the beauty pageant circuit, in 1926, she wound up in Hollywood. Over the next 9 years, she made 70 films, mostly as a foil for comics such as Harry Langdon and Charlie Chase, as well as Laurel and Hardy in 6 of their films. Her most successful films, however, were 2 comedies with the Marx brothers, Monkey Business and Horse Feathers.
You sing a high, huh?
Yes, I have a falsetto voice.
That's a funny. My last pupil, she got a false set of teeth. Well, maybe for the first lesson, it's better if you don't sing. And if you don't sing, I think it's a much better yet. I'll sing. Everyone says I love you.
Her vivacious on-screen personality only hinted at her riotous private life. She had so many drunken car crashes going from party to party that the studio had to insist she have a chauffeur. Her marriage in 1932 to Playboy Pasquale Pat Tisico quickly degenerated into a series of drunken brawls, one of which resulted in her having an emergency appendectomy. For consolation, she turned to alcohol, drugs, and to director Roland West. Roland West was married but separated from his wife, Jewel Carmen. Roland and his wife lived in a home in the hills of the Pacific Palisades on Posetano Road. Roland West's money, and his wife's money as they were married, helped Thelma open a racy roadhouse called Thelma Todd's Sidewalk Cafe at 17575 Pacific Coast Highway. And together he and Thelma moved into the large apartment upstairs in separate rooms, connected by sliding doors. Roland was the money, Thelma was perfect as the life of the party. The home that Roland shared with his wife on Posetano Road was above the Sidewalk Cafe, well above it. You could walk, but you had to walk up 270 steps. Though Roland's wife still lived in the house, he and Thelma Todd maintained the use of the house's garages, where she kept her 1932 Lincoln parked. It seems she was addicted to drama. Around this time, she began another abusive affair with gangster Charles Lucky Luciano. He got her hooked on amphetamines in order to keep her weight down. He tried to persuade her to let her use an upper room at the roadside cafe as an illegal gambling den, but she persistently refused and once screamed at him, "Over my dead body," to which she is supposed to have replied, "That can be arranged." On Saturday, December 14th, 1935, Thelma was going to a party in her honor at the Cafe Trocadero on the Sunset Strip. Before she left, Roland West demanded that she be home by 2 a.m. or he would lock her out. Thelma made it clear that she didn't care. The hosts at the Trocadero were British comedian Stanley Lupino and his actress daughter Ida. Ida agreed to a request by Thelma's ex-husband Pat DeSico that he be seated next to Thelma at the dinner. DeSico, however, arrived with actress Margaret Lindsay as his date and joined another group instead, leading to a brief spat in which Thelma accused DeSico of deliberately trying to humiliate her. Just after midnight, DeSico made a phone call from the lobby and left an hour later with the actress Margaret Lindsay. Thelma proceeded to get drunk. As promised, Roland West locked the door to the apartment at 2 a.m. Thelma left the Trocadero about 45 minutes later, promising to see the guests at a party the next afternoon at the home of Mrs. Wallace Ford. She was driven by chauffeur Ernest Peters in her Lincoln Phaeton touring car. They arrived to the doors of the Sidewalk Cafe between 3:15 a.m. and 3:30, depending on accounts. Thelma told the driver to go on, she'd be okay. So he left and parked the Lincoln in the garage of the Roland West home way above the cafe. In the meantime, finding the door to the cafe locked, Thelma walked up the 270 long steps to Roland West's garage. Before I take you on the walk up to the garage, I'm going to show you some of the interior footage of this incredible building on Pacific Coast Highway. It's currently owned by a production company called The Many, and they were very kind to let me in and take video. So here is some footage, interior footage of that incredible building. This is the top of the stairs, the second floor, and as you can tell from the quality of the video, it was done on my phone. I wasn't anticipating getting into this building, but we were able to wander around quite a bit, and this is the balcony of the, or the patio rather, of the upstairs apartment.
It might have been something there before and then they got closed off.
Yeah, because I think that's the building.
This was her bedroom.
See?
So this was Thelma's bedroom.
Okay.
Because remember, she was mistress of a monster.
Yes.
And that was in Cena.
Look at that.
And then it comes down like, but it's not very much.
So these are the stairs to the upper apartments, and behind that is a road, and behind that is another set of stairs, and behind that is a road, and behind that is another set of stairs and more road, and that's how you get to the garage.
Okay.
Bless you.
Let's see. I'm just going to walk to the other side of the stairs right here, okay? I'm not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. So nice of you to do this, Sheena. Thank you. Thank you. That's so cool.
So officially, Thelma found the doors locked and decided to trudge up the stairs all the way up the hill to the garage. She was going to take refuge in the Lincoln that the chauffeur had recently parked.
I don't even know if there is a second set of stairs anymore.
What's up there? Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Now that we're already here.
So this must be part of it too, huh?
It's just the whole fact that
Yeah.
this is like
the service.
Is that like the window that used to be? That it's like history, you know?
Stuff you've read about since you were a kid.
Yeah. Property.
Let's take a look over here. You're here. So this 100% was there at the time. I'm gonna run up these stairs real quick. And at the top, one of my favorite things.
A time machine. I was really going to try to make it up the staircase to do the entire walk, but over the years there have been mudslides and roads were completely washed out, so we couldn't make it up to the top of this particular stairs via the stairs. So if you look far into the distance, you will see the top of that staircase that I couldn't quite get to. And that road, as I said, is washed out. So everything you see between the top of those stairs and where I'm standing in this video is all been washed out. You cannot walk that road anymore. But from where I'm standing right now, if you were to turn completely around, you could walk forward and get to the garage, the Roland West garage.
See where they had to walk, yeah.
Where Thelma's car, the Lincoln, was parked on the right-hand side. Of the two doors, it was parked in the right-hand garage.
Here we are in front of Thelma Todd's house. Hello, my friends. Look at that. What a legend. What a legend this story is.
It's still a mystery.
So you saw what a walk that was. And Thelma was supposed to have walked all that way to the garage on the right and take refuge in her car. And they say she started the engine to stay warm. Now, the next day, Sunday morning, a druggist claims that Thelma came in and asked him to make a phone call and that disappeared. That Sunday afternoon, several witnesses claimed to have seen her driving with a dark-haired man. Mrs. Wallace Ford claims that around 4:30 p.m., Thelma called her using the nickname Hot Toddy that she herself had coined, apologizing for being late but promising to surprise her with a mystery guest. However, in the morning of Monday the 16th of December, Thelma's maid, May Whitehead, found Thelma slumped behind the wheel of the Lincoln. The key was in the ignition and it was in the on position, but the engine was not running. There were still 2 gallons of gas in the car, so it didn't run out. The 29-year-old Thelma Todd was still wearing her Saturday night outfit of silk dress, mink coat, and diamond jewelry. She was dead. Her high-heeled sandals were perfectly clean, although when a policewoman of similar build later attempted to climb the steps from the highway, her shoes had much more wear. Thelma's lip was bruised, her face streaked with blood, her nose broken, and a dental filling dislodged. Her fingernails were undamaged, indicating a lack of a struggle. Her alcohol blood level seemed like she couldn't have accomplished much at all. One account says a 0.13, and there was a 75 to 80% carbon monoxide saturation. Interesting to note, there were beans and peas in Thelma's stomach, although none were served at the Ida Lupino dinner. The LA County coroner fixed the time of death between 5 and 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. They explained the blood away by suggesting that Thelma had struck the wheel with her head when she passed out. The inquest threw up a number of theories, one being that since Thelma was locked out, Thelma trudged up the steps, up the hill, opened the garage door, and climbed in the Lincoln, turned on the engine to keep warm, and fell asleep. However, maid May Whitehead stated that she had given Thelma her key and it was found in Thelma's handbag. The coroner's report runs over 100 pages. 29-year-old Thelma Todd's death was ruled a suicide, then overturned in favor of accidental death, and the case is closed. Thelma's body was laid out at the Pierce Brothers Mortuary on Washington Street in Los Angeles. Her blonde hair laid on a silk pillow, and over the casket was a blanket of white roses and lilies of the valley. They say up to 10,000 fans filed past her open casket. Later, there was a private funeral attended by 200 at the Wee Kirk of the Heather Chapel at Forest Lawn, Glendale. It was attended by Thelma's mother and lover, Roland West. Other attendees were Stan Laurel, Oliver Hardy, Hal Roach, Ida Lupino, Patsy Kelly, and Zasu Pitts. Zasu Pitts said that Thelma looked like she was going to sit up and talk. But people always say that about bodies. I haven't seen one yet that I believed. After her funeral, Thelma Todd was cremated, thus making a second autopsy impossible. Years later, upon her mother's death, Thelma's ashes were placed in her mother's casket, and they are both buried in Massachusetts. In her will, Thelma left everything to her mother and $1 to ex-husband DeSico. Now, rumor is that in 1952, Roland West made a deathbed confession to his best buddy that he closed the garage door without knowing Thelma was inside. However, the door was unlocked. There have been a lot of stories over the years, a lot of theories. Was it Roland West? Was she followed home by DeSico? Did Lucky Luciano bump her off because she refused to allow gambling in her cafe? There's even one theory that Shirley Temple was in on it, but still, Thelma's death remains an accident. But interesting to note, in 1973, the district attorney who closed the case killed himself. The car that Thelma died in was sold to a man called Ted Reed. He died in 2003. No one really knows where it is now. And currently, the Roadside Cafe is host to The Many Advertising and Creative Agency.
Is good, big, strong man going to show little icky baby all about the bad football signals?
Was that you or the duck? Because if it was you, I'm going to finish this ride with the duck.
If Icky baby don't learn about the football signals, Icky baby going to cry.
If Icky girl keep on talking that way, big, strong man's going to kick all our teeth right down her throat.
A naughty man is only fooling. Just for that, I'm coming right over there and smother naughty man with kisses.
You couldn't make that onions instead, could you? Oh, so that's your game. That's your game, is it?
Professor Wagstaff! Professor Wagstaff!
Oh, just call me Quincy. After you get to know me better, you can call me Quince.
Oh, throw me the lifesaver. The lifesaver. Oh, Professor Wagstaff! Please, hurry, Professor! Oh, Professor!
Thank you all for joining me on this journey of Thelma Todd. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. And until next time.
You heard me.